Boom, 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 boom. Now tell me what you gonna do when it ain't nowhere to run. When judgment comes for you, when judgment comes for you. Tell me what you gonna do when it ain't nowhere to hide. When judgment comes for you, 'cause it's gonna come for you.
Looking at for quality, easy see Uncle Charlie. Little booty guys got him, and I'm gonna miss everybody out of rolling clothes like eggs. Looked at him while lag and played with dust.
Backbone Wrestling Network, welcome back to the CrosUp, the weekly look back at the week that was in professional wrestling. This week I'll be running through the results and happenings from Raw on June 8th to Collision on June 13th. We open with Raw, where you get a recap of the first week of King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring action. We then have Obafemi come out to open the show with a promo. Thanks to fans for the appreciation before moving on to Paul Heyman. Two of them don't agree on much, but they do both believe in spoilers. And he says, here's a spoiler for you. Obafemi is going to run through the King of the Ring tournament and win the whole thing at Night of Champion. He needs a crown to be the ruler, but there's another trophy he wants as well, and that is Brock Lesnar's head. Lesnar cheated to beat him and then ran away. Heyman refers to Lesnar as the big bad beast, but Obafemi thinks he is the big bad bitch. When Lesnar is back, Femi will settle the score, but Dominic Mysterio, who is Obafemi's semifinal opponent, comes out to interrupt. The fans obviously boo him vociferously like they always do. Mysterio says he is a 20-year veteran and wants Femi to bend the knee and respect the stash. JD McDonough then sneaks in with a chair shot and hits Femi, but Femi just turns around and glares at him. And obviously JD has the oh shit look in his face, on his face. I should say. Mysterio then gets in a quick 619, but then gets tossed down with a power bomb, sending the Judgment Day scurrying. And then Obafemi says, "We all know that Rey Mysterio is your father, but next week I'm going to introduce you to your daddy." So a pretty good Obafemi promo to open here on Raw. We then look back at Ron Breakker accidentally spearing Paul Heyman last week, then losing to Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is then interviewed and talks about how the last time he was in Paris, he was the World Heavyweight Champion. Tonight, it's about the King of the Ring and getting back the title that he never lost. Somewhere down the line, he has a date with Destiny with Roman Reigns, and Rollins is ready for that date to be here. We then have Liv Morgan win her Queen of the Ring match, defeating Chelsea Green, Becky Lynch, and Alexa Bliss when Liv scores a surprise roll-up. Chelsea was kind of in a pinning situation on Becky as she had just hit her with the Unprettier, and then Liv kind of flips her over and kind of jackknife covers her and gets the win. So Liv advances to the semifinals of the Queen of the Ring, I should say. We then get video of Rey Mysterio's whole career in WWE pretty much. And he kind of talks about how he's ready to win the Intercontinental Championship tonight from Penta. Penta says he has watched Rey Mysterio for years, but now it's his time, and it would be Penta's honor to face Rey Mysterio here tonight. We then have Chad Gable come up to Penta and apologizes for everything he did as El Grande Americano. The whole thing started because of his first loss to Penta. Gable took the loss like a coward, and he doesn't expect anything from Penta, but Gable apologizes. Penta says that wasn't easy for Gable, and he respects that. But there's one person Gable needs to apologize to, and Gable seems to understand who that may or may not be. We then have Montez Ford. He comes to see Seth Rollins, who thanks him for the help last week. The Usos and Jacob Fatu come in with Jey Uso, warning Seth Rollins about how he speaks about the family. Jey is in the King of the Ring tournament as well. But Rollins says Jimmy Uso is on the sidelines where Roman wants him. Rollins says he's not talking about their family because he's only talking about Roman. He thought the Usos were better than this, but they're just running errands for Roman once again. Jey tells Jacob Fatu to get Rollins, so Fatu gets in Rollins' face and then walks away. Seth Rollins then says family, and the Usos leave. We then have Michael Cole point out that last week Fatu said he follows Roman's rules, not the Usos, so he doesn't listen to Jey and Jimmy, but just Roman. We then have video on Sol Ruca versus Lyra Valkyria that was set up last week. We then have Bayley give Lyra a pep talk, but Lyra doesn't seem to want Bayley there ringside for the match that happens later on. Or it happens next, actually. Sol Ruca defeats Lyra Valkyria via pinfall following the Soul Snatcher to retain her Intercontinental Championship. We then look back at Jacob Fatu acknowledging Roman Reigns last week. Jey Uso yells at Jacob Fatu while Jimmy is a bit calmer in his criticism. Fatu makes it clear he doesn't acknowledge the two of them because he only acknowledges Roman. They need to worry about LA Knight, who has been told to stop talking about the family. He's probably doing it again right now, and the Usos aren't doing anything about it. And then Jay leaves when Jimmy isn't looking to kind of go take care of some business. We then have LA Knight. He comes out to the ring for a promo. There's a weird situation where he gets a microphone thrown to him, and the first throw is absolutely terrible. So LA actually throws it back, and then the guy who threw him the microphone gives a much better effort on the second one, and LA catches it with one hand, and the crowd reacts pretty hard for it. So it was a little bit of a flub, but not particularly LA Knight's fault. LA Knight is ready to be for his King of the Ring match this week on SmackDown, where he is ready to go through all four of them, which is really just three of them, obviously. But he's thinking about Roman Reigns. The truth is that Reigns' empire is crumbling, and Knight is expecting someone to come out here and cut him off on Friday. There are people against him, and he thinks Adam Pearce is one of them because Pearce didn't choose him. The people chose him, and he can't stop. Knight wishes everyone in the match on Friday good luck, including Jey Uso, who comes out to interrupt, because that's obviously why he snuck off. Jey is still rather over, obviously, and gets cheered pretty hard when he comes out. Hits the yeets, of course, and then he actually runs back the entrance, of course. LA Knight then says, "You don't possibly expect me to stand here and watch this." Uso says he's always there when his family calls, and this is LA Knight's warning shot. That's enough for Jey to leave, but LA Knight says, "Hang on." The fans aren't happy, and LA Knight gets that because the yeet thing is fun. LA Knight appreciates Uso's passion about his family because that's what a good man should do. He wishes Jey good luck on Friday from the bottom of his heart. And from the bottom of his heart, screw your family. That's enough for Jey to come back for a fight, but Jimmy Uso comes in to cut him off before things get too far. We then have Chad Gable. He comes up to Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio. Gable starts to apologize, but Dragon Lee says he knows Gable has learned his lesson, and it's okay. Mysterio says Gable needs to stop beating himself up. Mysterio didn't want to knock Gable's head off his shoulder. He said he did want to knock his shoulders off his head off his shoulders at one point. But they saw the mask versus mask. Gable has apologized enough, and it is accepted. Gable goes to leave, but Mysterio says Gable might have said and done some things he'll regret before he ever put the mask on, and that seems to hit Gable in a certain way. So obviously, this probably refers to the Alpha Academy and how he kind of, mistreated them before, right before he did all the Grande Americano stuff. So I imagine that is what he's referring to at this point. So we'll see if Gable and Otis and Tozawa kind of get back together. We then have the men's Intercontinental Championship match. Penta retains over Rey Mysterio via pinfall with the Mexican Destroyer. Post-match, Rusev and Ethan Page run in for a beatdown. The accolade goes on, so Dragon Lee runs in to make the save. Rusev knocks Lee down and takes Mysterio's mask, with Penta diving in to cover Rey's exposed head. Obviously, a big thing with luchadors. This brings out Chad Gable for the save. And hits a bunch of German suplexes on Page and Rusev. Page and Rusev then leave, and Gable holds up Mysterio's mask, and then eventually hands it to Penta so Rey can put it back on. We then have Raquel Rodriguez cut a promo about how she's ready for Io Sky in the Queen of the Ring semifinals. We then get a video of the whole European tour that they've been on. Obviously, I believe this was the last show in Europe. I think this was kind of the closing part of that loop. I think they're back in the States on SmackDown. So, but pretty successful tour, I would say. They've had quite a few good shows. But this is the wrap up in Paris. So we have Io Sky. She talks about Asuka. When Asuka left, she trusted her with the women's division. She's ready to face Raquel Rodriguez and go to the Queen of the Ring final and become champion again at SummerSlam. We have Roxanne Perez. She apologizes to Liv for her attitude last week. She was upset about her loss. All that matters is Judgment Day is winning both the King and Queen of the Ring. Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough come in, and Mysterio isn't so sure about Obafemi and facing him in his semifinal match. Liv Morgan has an idea, though, but with them gone, Roxanne again kind of seems like she's not so thrilled about what's going on with the Judgment Day. We then have Javon Evans win the King of the Ring match tonight. He defeats Ricky Saints, Seth Rollins, and Tala Tonga. Seth gets taken out by the Vision, of course, as he seems to not be done with them quite yet. And him and Saints were kind of locking up at that point. So Javon Evans takes advantage of a distraction and hits the OG cutter on Ricky Saints. After the match, Evans celebrates to end the show while Rollins is distraught. I would have put pretty heavy money that Rollins was probably either winning this thing or getting to the finals. So the fact that he loses in the first round due to Vision interference was definitely surprising for me, for sure. But that was absolutely the best match of the night. I thought it was a pretty solid Raw in ring. And obviously they set up some stuff in promos and stuff like that. So obviously Oba and Brock aren't done. And he obviously probably pissed off Brock pretty big with the promo that he cut. So we'll see if Oba does end up winning the King of the Ring or if, somewhere down the line, Brock costs him a match on the way there. So we'll see what happens. I honestly really don't know who's going to win the King of the Ring at this point. It's quite a group of four, and I'm not real sure where I see it going. I have one way I think it might go, and I really don't want that to be the case, but we shall see where it goes. But we will move from here to NXT. We open with an absolutely banger tag. Fraxium defeats Noam Dar and his new protege, Romeo Moreno. Axiom hits the golden ratio, and then Nathan Frazier follows it with a Phoenix Splash, and that gets them the win. After the match, they all shake hands. This match, I don't know if it was another misprint by old Davey Meltzer, but this match almost got 5 stars. It got 4 3/4, I believe, is what he rated this match. It was a great tag team match, but I think Davey might have had a little bit of a slip on the keyboard there because it was very good, but maybe not quite that good. We then go to Ren Sinclair. She wants to defend her Speed Women's title, whether she's injured or not. Kendall Gray wishes her well as she leaves. Lola Vice comes in to wish Gray good luck as she has a number 1 contenders match tonight. Gray doesn't seem interested in Lola's good luck and says she will go after Lola after she beats Kalani Jordan tonight. We then go to our first segment of the Mr. NXT pageant between Tristan Angels and Shiloh Hill. There will be 3 rounds: talent, attire, and public speaking, with a trio of judges. The judges are Evolve Men's Champion Aaron Rourke, Kit Wilson, of course, and then a comedian named Matt Matthews. So he's literally Matt. But first up, we have attire with a formal wear, a casual wear, and a swimwear. Angels goes first, and we get a montage of his gear with Aaron Rourke's jaw having to be closed at a Union Jack Speedo that he had on. We then go to Shiloh Hill's montage. He wears swim trunks, flippers, and a snorkel mask. Matthews goes with Hill, but the other 2 go with Angels, so Tristan wins round 1. Rounds 2 and 3 will come up a little later on. We then have our men's number one contenders match for Tony D's NXT Championship. Naraku defeats Mason Rook when Cam Hendricks provides a slight distraction, and Naraku hits Enter the Abyss on Rook and gets the win. So Naraku will face Tony D'Angelo at the Great American Bash for the NXT title. We then have Tavion Heights suggest that he gets a North American title shot at Great American Bash, and Miles seems interested in battling his old buddy. The Vanity Project comes in with Jackson Drake suggesting that he should get the shot as he's been on quite the roll lately. Tavion Heights offers a number one contenders match between him and Jackson for a Bash title shot, and Miles Bourne seems to approve. So apparently Tavion Heights can just make matches happen. So we'll see how that goes next week. We then have Tate Wilder. He talks about loving taking risk, especially in the ring. So they kind of show him on like motorcycles and dirt bikes and stuff like that. So he's kind of gone from this like cowboy on Evolve to somehow being like a BMX motorcycle riding kind of guy. So, I mean, it's not a huge shift in character, but he was definitely more of like a horse riding cowboy on Evolve there for a while. So definitely that's a change in character for him, but I think either way it seems to fit him. So we then have Kendall Gray defeat Kalani Jordan via pinfall following Shades of Gray. This makes Kendall the number one contender for Lola Vice at the Great American Bash. We go back to the pageant for round two. It's the talent competition. First up, Shiloh Hill solves the Rubik's Cube rather quickly, and then he then juggles with some types of sticks. Tristan Angels then storms in to say that he can do the cube faster, but can't get anywhere with it. Aaron Rourke says Angels has taken too long, so Angels breaks the cube. He starts juggling, but Shiloh Hill rides in on a unicycle and steals the balls, which is enough for him to win the round. So Tristan didn't really have a talent really picked out for some reason. So we're 1-1, and we will finish with round 3 later on tonight. We then have Tony D'Angelo getting interviewed. He respects Naraku, but doesn't understand him. All that matters is that he'll be facing him at the Great American Bash. Naraku comes in, gives D'Angelo another envelope, and bows. He then kind of walks away. D'Angelo opens the envelope, which has a card with the evil symbol on the back. And obviously it says something on it that Tony doesn't like, and he seems pretty pissed about it. We then have Dion Lennox defeat Jasper Troy via pinfall when he gets his knees up on a Vader bomb attempt, and then he follows it with a power slam. After the match, Saquon Sugars pops up on the screen, and then he uses that as a distraction and jumps Osiris Griffin on the outside with a pipe. So he's kind of picking them off one by one. He picked off Cutler James last week, and Osiris gets nailed with a pipe here this week. We then go earlier this week. Jada Parker had attacked Natalia at a training session at her academy that she kind of runs. And then we go to the final round of the pageant with Angels and Shiloh having to speak about why they should be Mr. NXT. Angels brags about how great he is and mentions that it's his birthday, as he should win over someone with a smile like an unfinished jigsaw puzzle. Shiloh Hill talks about how he's always different and trying to find out who he is. That's what NXT is all about. That's why he should be Mr. NXT, because he embodies what NXT really is. We go to the judges with obviously the comedian voting for Shiloh. Kit Wilson says they're both toxic, but picks Angels anyways. And then Aaron Rourke says it's close, so he's going to let the fans pick. We obviously get a fans poll, and believe it or not, Shiloh Hill wins. Angels erupts, is pissed, and then beats down Shiloh with the cane that he was carrying around, and then a chair that he went to go get from the outside. We then have Robert Stone. He congratulates Naraku on his win, but asks what was in the envelope he gave Tony D'Angelo. Apparently, it was an invitation of some sort. But here is Keanu Carver for a quick stare down. Naraku leaves, and Carver says he wants a fight, which Stone says he can have next week. Carver says he better get one, or he'll be the one that decides who his next opponent is. We then have the culling. They want Izzy Dane to win a women's speed title. They've got her into the tournament. And next week, she'll be facing Thea Hale in the semifinals of the women's speed tournament. So Izzy doesn't seem too keen to the idea at first, but when they kind of mentioned gold and beating down Thea Hale is an option, she seems pretty into it. And then we get our women's North American title match, and we have a new champion as Zarya defeats Tatum Paxley via pinfall following an F5. So there's kind of rumors that maybe Tatum's going to the main roster after this. She's one of those that she's good, and I love her to death, but she's going to just go up there and disappear. So I know you can't stay on NXT forever, but I don't envision her having a ton of success on the main roster, but it does put over Zarya. It gets her a title, makes her a champion. So obviously, I think it's a good thing for Zarya, and she can reign for a good while with this championship and be kind of the evil monster that nobody can beat. But as far as best match, I would go with Kendall and Kalani. I thought their in-ring stuff was really good. I thought the tag match to start the show was very good as well. Obviously not as much as old Davey Meltzer, but they were both very good. Kendall and Kalani was really good. Definitely check that one out. But I would check out that tag team match as well. It was really solid. And you know, obviously it already kind of elevates Romeo Moreno as he kind of hung with two veterans of NXT and veterans of the main roster. So two really good matches for NXT, and Zarya and Tatum was very good as well. So pretty solid in-ring week for NXT. So not a bad show to check out if you wanted to start getting into NXT. We then have Dynamite. We start that with Tony Schiavone. I'm sorry, I called him Tony D'Angelo. Tony Schiavone brings out Tommaso Ciampa. Ciampa wants to get right to the point. He wants Schiavone to repeat that he is better than Chris Jericho, even threatening violence to make it happen. Jericho then comes out, and we get, obviously, the crowd serenading him with the Judas lyrics. Ciampa cuts it off and asks if we're happy that the song and dance is done. Jericho wants to know who he has to talk to in order to fight someone with hair around here, as he keeps getting jumped by these bald men. He thinks they've gotten off on the wrong foot, so he introduces himself. But Ciampa has known him his entire career. Jericho says, "It's very nice to meet you, Tommy." So the fans obviously chant Tommy, which obviously is a insane thing that happens. Ciampa says no one calls him Tommy, not even his mother. So obviously Jericho continues to grind his gears and says, "You mean Tommy's mommy?" That gets chanted as well, obviously. Jericho wonders why Ciampa doesn't like him, while throwing in some insults of his own, with Ciampa saying, "This is a joke. Is this a joke?" to Jericho. Jericho gets in his face and goes serious, saying Ciampa is finding out that he isn't Jericho, and it has left him very angry. He calls him Tommy again, and this makes Ciampa snap, and the fight is on. Security sprints out to make the save, but can't separate them. They continue to brawl until they're kind of held apart and taken to the back. So pretty solid opening segment. I like Tommaso. Jericho, at this point, I could take or leave, but as long as he puts over these young, well, not that Ciampa's a younger guy, but as long as he's putting over these people that probably need to be put over, I'm good with Jericho being around, but we'll see if that ends up happening. We then have Don Callis and Kevin Knight. They arrive, but Andrade interrupts and asks for his world title shot. Kevin Knight is brand new to the family and is already asking for a title shot, but he needs to go to the back of the line. That doesn't sit very well with Knight, who is going to the ring, with Callis promising Andrade a title shot at some point, but Andrade doesn't seem to buy that that's in his future. We then have Jon Moxley defeat Shane Taylor via submission with the Bulldog choke. After the match, Taylor lays him out with the right hand. Taylor gets a belt and whips Moxley, so Daniel Garcia runs through the crowd, only to get beaten down as well. Marina Shafir gets taken out too, and Shane Taylor Promotions leaves standing strong. We then have video on Mercedes Moné, obviously saying that she's going to once again win the Owen Hart Women's Cup. and is here to save the division. We then have Don Callis introduce the Jet, Kevin Knight, who praises Don Callis for seeing his star power, and the signing bonus didn't hurt as well. Knight then calls out MJF, but gets a returning Darby Allin instead. Darby jumps him from behind with a skateboard and is smart enough to disappear when the rest of the family comes out after him. We then see that Mark Briscoe is talking to Tony Khan and thinks whatever he's talking about is a good idea. We don't really hear the beginning of the conversation. We just hear the end. We then have Mark Briscoe defeat Pac via pinfall with the Froggy Bow. After the match, he calls out MJF, but we then take a commercial break. After the commercial break, MJF does come down to say that he's the boss around here and Briscoe doesn't get title shots. MJF is the rising tide that lifts all boats, but MJF would just be an anchor if he gave shots to somebody like him. The other thing is that MJF has all the money and it talks. This brings out Lethal Twist to jump Briscoe, so the conglomeration comes in to make the save. Briscoe then grabs the mic to say that MJF is just an asshole and not the real power around here. That would be Tony Khan, who has decided that Briscoe and MJF can get 5 partners each and fight at Forbidden Door. If Briscoe's side wins, he gets a title shot, and we'll do it in a cage. MJF panics as Orange Cassidy is ready in the ring for his scheduled match. This brings out Andrade. Andrade defeats Orange Cassidy via pinfall following the DM. We then have, we go to last week. Will Ospreay was happy about his win, advancing to the finals of the Owen Hart Cup, but his wife, or fiance, whatever they are, Alex Windsor, comes in to cry in his arms, and Ospreay hugs her tight and tells the camera to go away. So I don't really know where they're going with that, but obviously Windsor is emotional about Will being okay and being in the tournament. We then have video on Tekla. I believe this is where she travels back to Stardom and kind of messes with the head guy there and starts to kind of fuck with him. So Tekla continuing to kind of fuck with Stardom and all the people within it. We then have John Moxley. He's banged up from earlier, but says the Death Riders want a 5-on-5 street fight on Collision. So that will happen later on this week. Maya World then defeats. Maya World was subbing for Sari in the Owen Hart Women's Tournament, but Maya World comes in and actually upsets Sky Blue via pinfall. She blocks a Code Blue attempt and scores a surprise roll up. And Maya World will face Athena in the semifinals of the Owen. So, obviously a pretty big glow up for her. She's been kind of a tag team jobber for the most part, but she gets slotted into this situation and she advances. So we'll see how she does against Athena. We then go to a hype package for Zack Sabre Jr. He says he will be at Forbidden Door and wants Kenny Omega. And the match seems to be set as they show us a graphic pretty much right after. We then have MJF. He comes in to see the Don Callis family and wants to buy some wrestlers for Forbidden Door. Callis goes on a rant about how he's not a pimp or a butcher, but MJF whips out a briefcase full of money. This quickly changes Don's mind, and they'll figure out the team next week. Kevin Knight wants on the team, and MJF agrees, though Knight wants a title shot if MJF's team wins. MJF agrees, but it's Knight's last title shot. So if he loses, he gets no more. The family goes to leave, but Andrade asks Callis about his title shot again, and Callis assures him that it's coming, but again, Andrade isn't so sure. We then have our main event, which is the other semifinal for the men's Owen Hart tournament, and Swerve Strickland defeats Brody King via pinfall when Prince Nana gets a cheap shot in, and that allows Swerve to hit the Vertebreaker. And this advances Swerve to face Will Ospreay at Forbidden Door in the final of the men's Owen Hart tournament. And that match was the best match of the show. It wasn't particularly close to anything else, I would say. A lot of promos on this one. And I thought, they gave Swerve and Brody a good bit of time at the end of the show. And I thought it was a really strong performance by both guys. We'll then go to Impact. We open with a world title match, actually, and Mike Santana defeats Eric Young, who had previously won a Battle Royal to get a number one contendership. Ricky Souza came back to kind of distract Eric Young, and that allows Santana to reverse a pile driver attempt into a quick roll up. After the match, Nick Nemeth comes out with his Call Your Shot gauntlet trophy that guarantees him a title shot. So it seems like he may cash in, but he says he's a man of his word. He said earlier this week, he said he would use the title shot at Slammiversary, whether it was Eric Young or Mike Santana, and that is what he's going to do. So he is cashing in, and it will be Mike Santana versus Nick Nemeth at Slammiversary for the world title. We then have Mustafa Ali with Order 4. He liked what Nick Nemeth just did. As for Casey Navarro, Ali gives his condolences for Navarro's losses. He lost his uncle earlier this week, I believe is what they talk about. And he says he apologizes for Navarro's losses, both of them, including his match tonight, as well as his uncle earlier this week. We look back at AJ Francis laying out Elijah last week and apparently buying his likeness and music library. We then have a match with Elijah where he gets distracted by AJ Francis's lawyer, and he's facing Mr. Elegance. Mr. Elegance quickly comes up from behind him and rolls him up and gets a quick 12-second win over Elijah. So Elijah jobbing to Mr. Elegance. I'm not sure how I feel about that. But after the quick, if you even want to call it a match, it's pretty much just a pinfall. But after the match, AJ Francis comes in to mock Elijah for losing again, earning him a beatdown. They fight into the crowd, and here is Lei Ying Lee to attack Mr. Elegance. Xia Brookside then comes in for a cheap shot, but she gets taken out as well. So the Knockouts champ stands tall. We then have Nick Nemeth give Casey Navarro a pep talk. Ryan Nemeth comes in as well, but Mike Santana also comes in, and he respects Nick for announcing the title shot man-to-man. Santana will be ready for him at Slammiversary, and Casey Navarro says he has a title to win and could use either Santana or Nick's help with Order 4 later on. They both seem like they're intrigued on the idea, but don't agree to help him before walking off. We then have the System of Cedric Alexander and Eddie Edwards defeat Leon Slater and Fabian Eichner when Alexander hits the lumbar check on Slater. After the match, the System continue to beat down, but Moose comes in to make the save, and Moose versus Eddie Edwards is set for Slammiversary. We then have Santino Marella. He is happy with his win last week. Indy Hartwell comes in and is granted a match with Elena Black next week. We then have the Righteous come in to cut a promo. They brag about their win last week, including poisoning Jeff Hardy. The Hardys have survived everything for over 30 years, but they came into the Wicked Garden and are immediately classified as obsolete. That leaves the Righteous wanting the tag team titles. This brings out Santino Marella, who says the Hardys still have a rematch clause that they never got for the tag titles, so they'll get the title shot at Slammiversary, as will the Righteous in a three-way match, a three-way ladder match. The Righteous laugh at the idea because the Hardys are gone, but the lights go out. We hear Matt Hardy's laugh, and a ladder appears behind the Righteous in the ring. We then have the Undead Realm of Ali, Rosemary, and Mara Sade defeat the Elegance brand when Ali hits a codebreaker on Heather by Elegance. And then we get our main event for the international title. Mustafa Ali retains over Casey Navarro via submission with the sharpshooter. After the match, Ali puts the sharpshooter on again, but Nick Nemeth and Santana come out to make the save. Ali teases a belt shot on Santana, but Nick Nemeth gives Ali a super kick, and then Nemeth out of nowhere super kick, or it hits Santana with the danger zone to end the show. So he does respect Santana, but he's not going to piss away opportunities to kind of take him out in situations like that. I thought it was a pretty solid in-ring week for Impact in the grand scheme of things. I mean, obviously, it's probably one of the weaker shows most weeks, but I thought the tag match was good. I thought the international title match was good as well, and the world title match was solid to start the show. But I would go with the international title match, Ali and Navarro. Ali's just on another level for most people in TNA, so he will get my vote most of the time that he has a match. So we then go to SmackDown. From there, we open with a long Cody Rhodes and Gunther recap. Rhodes arrives and runs into Nick Aldis, who says Gunther will name his stipulation tonight. That works for Cody, and Aldis leaves with the Usos coming in. Jay says he's winning King of the Ring and coming for the title, but it's not personal. That's fine with Cody as well, but he hopes that it's what Jay wants and not what Roman is telling him to do. We then go to commentary. They tell us that Rhea Ripley has a knee injury and is undergoing treatment, and we'll see how quickly they think she can recover and all that jazz. We then look back at Jade Cargill and company winning last week's woman tag. Jade Cargill with B-Fab and Michin is ready to win the Queen of the Ring, and then Charlotte comes by and kind of cuts them off from talking and makes her entrance for the first match. It is the Queen of the Ring Fatal 4-Way. It's the final one. Charlotte defeats Jade, Lyra, and Soul when she gets Lyra Valkyria to tap to the figure 8. So Charlotte Flair advances and will face Liv Morgan in the semifinals. Charlotte, of the two King and Queen of the Ring tournaments, is the only SmackDown superstar to have advanced. As we'll have the final King of the Ring one later, but she is the only SmackDown superstar that advanced to the semifinals of the King of the Ring. So not a good showing for SmackDown, we'll say. We go to the back, B-Fab and Michin. So I didn't mention this, but Tiffany Stratton and Alexa Bliss come out to take out like B-Fab and Michin during the Queen of the Ring tournament match. So after the match, B-Fab and Michin go after Tiffany Stratton, but Chelsea Green comes in like a mad woman with a kendo stick and kind of holds them off. And Tiffany Stratton has no idea what to make of any of this. We then have Jacob Fatu. He comes in to see the Usos, but he says he's really here to see Solo Sikoa, obviously. We then go to Blake Monroe. She cuts our weekly promo. This week she talks about Charlotte and talks about Charlotte not really needing Alexa Bliss and being held down by her, but she's continues to be interested in taking out the women of SmackDown. We then have Gunther. He comes in to see Nick Aldis and makes the announcement that he gets to pick the referee for the title match next week. That's fine with Aldis, but we have to wait once again to figure out who that referee will be. We then have Finn Balor. He is fired up to be here and be in a King of the Ring tournament match later. When R-Truth comes in to say that the Judgment Day is back together, Balor seems confused, but then Damian Priest comes in and obviously talks about him and Finn's previous issues. And R-Truth just tries to continue to play peacemaker and all that kind of stuff. So we then have our a women's tag team title match. It was kind of set up last week. Brie Bella and Paige defeat Fatal Influence of Laney Reed, Fallon Henley, when JC gets ejected from the match, while Fallon has an inside cradle kind of locked in. But the distraction that JC provides allows Brie to come in and kind of reverse the inside cradle into Paige's favor, and that is enough for them to win and retain. We then look at Sami Zayn getting involved in Cody and Gunther's business last week. Zayn rants to Johnny Gargano once again, with Candice LeRae asking when Gargano is going to get up and do something. Sami Zayn hears this and thinks that, he thanks Johnny for telling him to get up and do something, because that's exactly what he's going to do. But obviously it was Candice that said something. So another insane Sami Zayn moment. We then have Los Garza. They give Danhausen some money. And Matt Cardona comes in to say he doesn't have money, but he gives Danhausen a watch and a ring. Kit Wilson then brings The Miz in, who is only able to spout catchphrases as he had been electrocuted last week, and his hair is all frizzed out as well. Danhausen then electrocutes Kit Wilson as well and leaves, with Wilson kind of sparking as he goes away. So just more Danhausen insanity. We then have Sami Zayn come out to cut a promo. He isn't sure why he isn't getting a nice reaction as he got in Europe, but that's okay. Do you want to boo him or ride or die with the last real good guy? And that's what is on his shirt now, of course. Zayn is out here to clear the air with Cody Rhodes, who comes out to join him in the ring. Cody does his usual, and Sami Zayn doesn't want this Rhodes for a change. A few weeks ago, Rhodes made Sami feel terrible when he walked away while Rhodes was choked out. That's what Rhodes deserved on that day, and Zayn wants Rhodes to tell him the truth. Rhodes says that Zayn is asking for an explanation of professional wrestling, and Zayn is smarter than that. Zayn talks about being the first person to congratulate Cody when he won the title, because he's a good guy. Cody then snaps about how the fans telling Zayn that he sucks, and it's true right now because Zayn is whining and complaining. Let's not pretend that this is about anything but the title. Sami Zayn then slaps him in the face and immediately realizes that he went too far. Cody then says they're done. So Zayn grabs a chair only to drop it and leave. We then have Jacob Fatu come in to see Solo Sikoa and has a message from Roman Reigns. It's time to come home. Solo doesn't know what has happened to Fatu, but Reigns is humiliating him. Sikoa gets fired up and wants Fatu to be himself, but Fatu says he's made his decision. When his business with Reigns is done, he's coming for Sikoa. That's fine with Sikoa, who says Reigns wants him back. If he wants him back, come get him. We then have Rey Fenix defend his AAA Cruiserweight Championship, defeating Axiom via pinfall with the Mexican Muscle Buster. We then have Gunther. He comes up to Nick Aldis and picks Sami Zayn as the guest referee for his title match next week. We then have Trick Williams, a little Gotti, come out to the ring for a promo. Trick is not happy that he lost last week, but he is still the United States champion and has his lemon pepper steppers. This brings out Ricky Saints to interrupt, but Carmelo Hayes interrupts his interruption. Carmelo is tired of the catchphrases from Ricky Saints, who says he is the only one who should be getting a title shot. They bicker back and forth, obviously, with Trick telling them to shut up and figure it out themselves. Until then, like the grown folks talk, and then they end up brawling, and Trick stands tall to end the segment. We then have Royce Keys. He is interrupted by Solo Sikoa, who wants to help even the odds against the Bloodline tonight in the King of the Ring match. Sikoa doesn't need Keys to fight with him, but he doesn't want Roman Reigns to get his way. We then have B-Fab and Michin. They defeat the team of Tiffany Stratton and Chelsea Green when Michin hits the Styles Clash on Chelsea. After the match, Jade Cargill comes out to lay out Tiffany with Jaded and then holds up the Women's United States Championship. We then look at Kiana James and Julia splitting up last week. Kiana James rants about how she's done everything she has done for Julia, which brings Julia interrupt. Julia did not need Kiana's help in the ring and gives her a slap to kind of end the segment. We then have Finn Balor running into his old buddy Tama Tonga from the New Japan days, obviously, and Tama Tonga welcomes him to SmackDown. So we'll see if they continue to have interactions going forward. We then have Cody Rhodes. He talks to Nick Aldis and isn't sure about Sami Zayn being the guest referee. Zayn comes in to repeat Rhodes' issues with him and tells him good luck for next week. We then have LA Knight. He isn't worried about the Bloodline being in the building because LA Knight is in the building. He can't wait for Jay and Jacob to be back in the Bloodline, barefoot and pregnant. He's coming for the crown, and then he's coming for the World Heavyweight Championship and Roman Reigns. We do get the final men's King of the Ring quarterfinal match, I guess is what you want to call it. Jey Uso defeats LA Knight, Finn Balor, and Royce Keys. When Solo Sikoa comes out, hits LA Knight with the Samoan Spike to help out Royce. Royce hits the USB, the Ultimate Spine Buster, but Uso goes to the top, hits the Uso Splash onto Keys while he's pinning LA Knight, and then Uso pins Knight to steal the victory. So Jey Uso moves on in the King of the Ring tournament to the semifinals, and he will face Javon Evans in the semifinals to face the winner of Obafemi and Dominic Mysterio. So we'll see where the King of the Ring continues to go, but that is the end of the first round. The main event was the best match for me. I thought both Queen and King of the Ring matches were, again, strong, but I would favor the men's one in this situation. We then go to Collision to wrap up the week. Kenny Omega defeats Bad Dude Tito. I was thinking of Big Bad Steve from Linking Up Lucha. But Kenny defeats Bad Dude Tito via pinfall with the One-Winged Angel. Omega grabs the mic afterwards, talks about obviously being kind of resting some injuries and not being able to make it in the Owen Hart tournament, but he wants to get back to the top, and now he is going to wrestle Zack Sabre Jr. He talks about all the great other great technical wrestlers of the past, like Bryan Danielson and Nigel McGuinness, and knows that he knows that he can hang with those guys. So Zach shouldn't be any different. He says, "Zach, I'll see you at Forbidden Door," and then he mentions that MJF, "I'll see you soon as well." We then go backstage. We have Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis. Fletcher kind of talks some crap about Takeshita. Now he's not going away and not leaving the Don Callis family alone. Fletcher wants revenge talks about wanting the International Championship back in the Don Callis family. Okada walks in and agrees and says, "You're right. The International title does need to be back in the Don Callis family," and he wants the title back as well. So we'll see if this leads to some tension between Fletcher and Okada, because obviously I think Fletcher was kind of implying that he was going to bring it back, but him and Okada seem on the same page for now, at least. We then have Hikaru Shida. She defeats Zeta Steel via submission. I don't even really know what to call the submission. She had like Zeta's leg like bent over her shoulder, and she was kind of wrenching at her face. So it was kind of like a standing STF of some sort, but it looked really sloppy. Didn't really look like it was locked in very tight based on what she was trying to do. But I just thought it looked really sloppy, and I didn't really know what to call it. But she wins with the submission. Shida earns a spot in the Survival of the Fittest match for the TBS Championship with this victory. So they'll have some qualifying matches over the next few weeks. And I think maybe the first Dynamite in July is where they will be crowning the new champion. So, but then we get the Rascals. They defeat a couple of jobbers, Aaron and Austin Atlas, when they hit the hot fire flame. After the match, Desmond grabs the mic and says the Rascals are the hottest trio in AEW. I would disagree because I'm pretty sure this is the first match they've won in a while. Wentz said it's only fair that Cincinnati gets to see all three of them, and then announces that Myron Reed will be getting a TNT title shot next. Kevin Knight then defeats Myron Reed in a really solid match via pinfall with the crash landing. We then go to a Divine Dominion kind of promo video. They are the dominant women's tag team champions, and they wonder if any competition remains for them as they have been so dominant. We then have a Maya World promo. She cuts it kind of outside the arena from Dynamite. They kind of recap the match that she won against Sky Blue. She had recently lost her brother, I believe, is what they kind of talk about. She said she probably shouldn't be here right now, but she's doing it for him. She talks to Athena, her next opponent, obviously. Athena, you taught me everything I know right now. But if everything I know that you taught me comes back to bite you in the ass, that's on you. I am the it girl, Maya World, and this is the opportunity of my life. And with everything in my soul, I'm taking it. We then go to Athena for her side of things. She said, "I'm truly sorry what happened to your brother. I really, really am. But I'm sitting here wondering, what about me? What about the hard work I put in week after week as the ROH Forever Women's Champion?" Calls her honey. And just because I taught you everything you know doesn't mean I taught you everything I know. Athena then mentions that she's never made it past the second round of the Owen Hart tournament, as I think she's been in 2 or 3 of them at this point, and says that isn't going to be the case this year. She's going to the finals, and she's going to win the whole damn thing. We then have Athena wrestle a kind of a squash match. She defeats somebody named Kiara James via submission with the Koji Clutch. After the match, she continues to lock in the Koji Clutch. Maya World makes the save, and Athena wants none of it, so bails. Maya then starts checking on Kiara, and then Athena runs back into the down the ramp to the ring, catches Maya off guard, and plants her face first into the ROH Women's World Title. We then go backstage with the Demand. Ricochet complains about the injustices they faced recently, and then notes his success, a winning record of 2-1 over Chris Jericho. Ricochet then wants more gold, and he says, "Takeshita, I'm coming for you." We then get the Dogs. They defeat the Young Bucks when they hit the full clip on Matt. They obviously cheat some there in the middle. They hit him with the shillelagh and the spear, and he actually breaks up the spear attempt, the pinfall of the spear attempt. But they do then hit the full clip, and Finley and Connors continue their trek towards the tag team championships. We then have Kyle O'Reilly. He says that they get the Dong Phallus family. So I don't know if he just got a little too carried away, or if he did that on purpose. So, but he definitely says phallus. I'm not sure. He definitely calls him a name. So, but he says they get them inside of a steel cage. Mark Briscoe revealed the team on Dynamite. Roddy says, Kyle, it does matter because I hate Max and I will forever hate Max. So I have to be on the team. And Kyle says he loves Roddy's energy. We then get told that on Wednesday on Dynamite, we will learn of each team of the two guys, of MJF and Mark Briscoe on Dynamite. We then have Tony Schiavone. He takes the opportunity to publicly apologize for the despicable acts committed by Tekla last week, spitting on the Stardom logo. Tekla then comes from the crowd with a microphone and says, are you guys trying to apologize to Stardom for what I did? I'm not going to apologize to Stardom. I'm not going to apologize to AEW either, and I'm certainly not going to apologize to any dumb bitches. Tekla stands up and on the announce table and says, when I spat on the Stardom logo last week, I did you a favor. That was the best thing that ever happened to you because everyone is talking about you. And it's because of me. My saliva is worth more than anything that you have done in that Stardom locker room. Tekla spits on her hand, wipes it on Tony Schiavone's blazer, and says, I am the biggest mistake you ever made. We then have the Bang Bang Gang. They invested some money in a neuter clinic to open a neuter clinic, and they will snip the dogs coming up here pretty soon. We then have Persephone defeat Julia Hart via pinfall following a Razor's Edge. Persephone qualifies for the TBS title Survival of the Fittest match with this victory. We then get informed that Starlight Kid from Stardom, she gets a vignette. And that obviously brings us back, and she will face Tekla at Forbidden Door. We then go to Lexi Nair with Tekla. She says, Taru Okada, you little bastard, you did it again. Tekla remembers Starlight Kid and despises her. This is going to be good because you have never been to AEW, so I'm going to make damn sure your first time in AEW is going to be your last time in AEW. We then have Jake Doyle defeat Mike Bailey via pinfall following a powerbomb. And then we got our 5-on-5 street fight to end the show. Absolute chaos. Was really, really good. The Death Riders defeat Shane Taylor Promotions when Mox hits the paradigm shift on Shane Taylor. And that was the best match of the show. A solid collision as always. Some squash matches mixed in there, but Myron and Kevin was very good as well. And yeah, just a solid show to kind of wrap up the week. So thank you as always for joining me, and we will see you next week.